guys want? I don't know. What are you getting? The number 7 combo. What's in a number 7 combo? 2 cheeseburgers, a fry, and then you also get a drink. You know what? I'll take that too. Make that 3. Okay, so we want 3 orders of the number 7 combo, please. 5 minutes later. Awesome, thank you. Here you go. Turn around. They screwed up. What? We got 6 cheeseburgers. Yeah. But they only got 1 drink and 1 fry. So that means they shorted us 2 drinks and 2 fries. It's like that girl never learned distributive property or something. Her algebra teacher would be so embarrassed. Totally.
Hi guys, welcome. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We are going to get started on our 3rd lesson. I've already started writing it. My thinking is that you can pause the video, copy this down, and then I'll go ahead and talk through it. Okay, so pause it right here, put down the title, copy it down, and then I'll tell you what's happening. Okay, so the distributive property. Hopefully that sounds familiar to you. I think when you see an example, you'll go, okay, that looks familiar. But I do want you to have this written down because it's going to help you later on when you get confused, okay? So when simplifying expressions, remember expressions don't have an equal sign. So we're not solving an equation, we're simplifying expressions. When simplifying expressions, we still follow order of operations, which is PEMDAS. Okay, we always follow order of operations. If the terms inside the parentheses cannot be combined, then we use the distributive property. Okay. So distributive property, what is it? What does it look like? So if you have a set of parentheses, order of operations says we do parentheses first, right? But what happens if the stuff inside the parentheses actually can't be put together, can't be combined? If we had like 5 plus 2 in there, then we could just add 5 plus 2 and that's 7. But what if we had like x plus 5? Can you add x plus 5 together? Are those like terms? The answer is no. If this 5 had an x on it, then yeah, you could add them up. They don't have the same variable raised to the same power, so they're not like terms. So x plus 5, what's x plus 5? It's just x plus 5. You can't simplify that further. So if you come into a situation where you got some parentheses and the stuff inside it can't actually be combined, then what you look for is to see if there is a number or some sort of symbol out front of the parentheses. So let's say we put a 2, let's say there was a 2 out there, a positive 2. Now that 2 is right next to a set of parentheses. So what is that 2 doing? Hopefully you said it's multiplying. It's timesing by the sum of this, okay? Now when I can't actually add or subtract what's in here, when I can't actually combine, then what's gonna happen is this 2 that's out front gets multiplied to every single term on the inside. Okay, hopefully this little arrow thing looks familiar to you. So this 2 gets multiplied by the x. So we have 2 times x. The 2 also gets multiplied to the 5. So we have 2 times 5. Okay, and since both of those are positive numbers, it's going to be a plus sign right there. Okay, and then you actually go ahead and find the product of those things. What's 2 times x? It's just 2x. What's 2 times 5? 10. So my simplified answer is 2x plus 10. So if you see something like this, you take the number out front, multiply it to every single term on the inside. Okay, that's what we're doing today. Now we're just going to practice because my hope is that this is review. Okay, so we're just going to practice a bunch of different scenarios. Make sure you remember crazy little kind of weird things too. So let's put a 2 out front. Inside your parentheses is y plus 10. Okay, so I follow order of operations, parentheses first. I look inside the parentheses and see that y plus 10 cannot be combined. They're not like terms. So then I go, oh, I'm going to check to see what's out front. There's a 2 being multiplied by the set of parentheses. So I take that 2 and I distribute it to both terms. It gets multiplied to both terms on the inside. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times positive 10 is positive 20. So I have 2y plus 20. Those are not like terms, so I'm done. Okay. Now let's start with our parentheses. Inside your parentheses, let's put 2x plus 5. Now typically, I'm going to say 90% of the time. 90% of the time, there's a number out front. Usually we see it out front. But sometimes you might see it at the back. And it might look like this. Notice how there's no symbol. And since there's no symbol, then we know it's multiplication. Another thing, though, is sometimes they do protect this with parentheses. But still, when you have a set of parentheses next to a set of parentheses, you know what's happening? It's just multiplying. So what's going to happen here is this 3 is what gets distributed. It gets distributed or multiplied to the 2x as well as the 5. Okay, so 3 times 2x. So some of you might be struggling with that. 3 times 2x. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. So 3 times 2x is 6x. Okay. 3 times positive 5 is positive 15. So I have 6x plus 15. Here's 3 and 4. So let's put a negative 5 out front. Okay, double check. We're doing some multiplication here, right? So negative times negative, positive. Negative times positive, negative. Okay, so you have a negative 5 out front, and inside your parentheses, you have 3x plus 1. So start without me or wait if you want to. Okay, so this negative 5 gets multiplied to both terms. Common mistake is kids forget to multiply to the second term. Don't do that. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15. So negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x. Negative 5 times 1. So negative times positive, negative. So negative 5. Now some of you might have written this as negative 15 plus negative 5. It's not that that's wrong. Let me go ahead and write it. Some of you might have had this. Plus negative 5. It's just unnecessary, okay, for you to have two symbols right next to each other. It's just kind of almost messy. So if it equals a negative, just put like minus. Okay, same thing as minus 5. Number 4, you have a negative 8 out front. On the inside, you have negative 2y plus 5. Go ahead and do that one. Okay. Negative times negative is positive. So 8 times 2 is 16. So that'd be 16y. Positive 16y. Negative 8 times positive 5 is negative 40. So final answer, 16y minus 40. And the reason why these are my final answers is because I can't simplify any further. I can't combine like terms. Okay. Next up, number 5 and 6. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and kick it up a notch. So hopefully that's enough review of basic distributive property. That's stuff we should have been doing in 7th and 8th grade, okay? So let's start with a 3n out front. Inside your parentheses, you have n minus n. Okay, so let's just double check. I see an expression here and I go, order of operations, always, always. Parentheses, n minus 10. Can't actually subtract that. It's not like terms. So this is where I'm like, oh, I hope something's being multiplied by the set of parentheses. Yes, there is. There's 3n being multiplied. Okay, so you're still going to use distributive property here. But now what you're multiplying is 3n times n. Okay, that's 3. First of all, 3n is 3 times n. So if you're going to times it by another n, that's 3 times n times n. But we wouldn't write it like that. Okay, so let me take you back. Remember, like 5 times 5? 5 times itself? There's another way you could write that. It's the same as 5 squared. Okay, 10 times 10 times 10. You have 3 tens being multiplied. Another way to write that is 10 to the 3rd power. Okay, so if you have x times x, another way to write that is x to the what power? How many x's are being multiplied? X to the 2nd power, x squared. So down here we have some n's, n times n. Well, n times n is n squared. So 3n times n is 3n squared. Now some of you are like, wait, so does that become a 9 because 3 squared is 9? No, 3 squared is 9, but that squared has nothing to do with the 3, okay? And then that 3n still has to get multiplied by the negative 10. Positive times negative is negative, so I put my subtraction sign. 3n times 10 is 30n. Final answer, 3n squared minus 30n. Okay, so after you write this next one, I want you to pause it and then try it without me, okay? So negative 2y is out front. On the inside, you have 4y minus 6. Pause it, play it when you're ready to check. Okay. Negative times positive is negative, so I'm going to drop that down now. 2 times 4 is 8, so I know my coefficient's negative 8. And then I have a y times y. Y times y can be represented as y squared. So negative 2 times 4y is negative 8y squared. Negative 2y, and this is where you got to be careful. This is not a 6, it's a negative 6, right? Negative times negative is positive. Got to make sure you write that down. And then I look at my coefficients, 2 and a 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And how many y's are being multiplied? Well, just 1. So, just 1. So my final answer, negative 8y squared plus 12y. Okay, let's do 2 more together here. Oh yeah, okay. So let's say out front of your parentheses isn't a number, it's just a minus sign. And then inside your parentheses, you have 7x minus 2. Okay, so order of operations is always kind of in the forefront of our mind. 7x minus 2. Can I actually combine those? Can I subtract the 2 from the 7x? No, I can't. They're not like terms. So I'm hoping that there's a number out front that I can distribute or multiply through. Uh-oh, I only see a subtraction sign. Well, guess what, my friends? Technically, there is a secret number, okay? If you don't see a number, you go, oh, there's a secret 1 right there. And in this case, it's a secret -1. So you're distributing a -1. You're timesing everything on the inside by a -1. So -1 times 7x is -7x. And then now you have a -1 times a -2. Negative times negative, positive. So that'd be a +2. So my final answer is -7x plus 2. Okay, now this is like go big or go home here. I'm going to still push you a little bit though. So out front, let's put a -8n. So the term out front has a variable in it. So just to review, n times n was n squared. Y times y was y squared. So keep that in mind, okay? On the inside, now everything we've had on the inside of the parentheses so far has only had 2 terms. Let's kick it up a notch. We're gonna put 3 terms in there. We're gonna have a 2n minus 10y plus 3. Now, if you want to try it out without me, go ahead, pause it, and then play it when you're ready to check. But I'm going to kind of talk you through this one. Okay, distributive property, that number out front gets distributed to every single term on the inside. It doesn't matter how many terms are in there. If there was 6 terms on the inside, that number would have to go to each and every one of them. Okay, so this -8n gets multiplied to this dude, to this dude, and to that dude. Okay, so one step at a time so it's not overwhelming. So I'm just looking at these two right here. Negative times positive, negative. So I'm gonna put that there. Next I go to the coefficients. 8 times 2 is 16. Now I multiply my variables, n times n. How do we write n times n? N squared. Okay, so -8n times 2n is -16n squared. Okay, now this -8n is going to go to this -10y. Remember, keep the sign that's in front of it. So now you have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. I'm going to multiply the coefficients. 8 times 10 is 80. And now I'm going to multiply my variables. Now, n times y. You know what n times y is? It's just ny. That's how you represent it. All of this is just multiplying anyway, so we don't really need the multiplication dots. We just shove it together, okay? So -8n times -10y is positive 80ny. Still got to multiply it by this last term though. Negative times positive, negative. Focus on your coefficients. 8 times 3, 24. Multiply your variables. N times, and then there's no variable there. So we're just going to drop in that. Okay, so that would be your final answer. There's nothing you can combine in here because none of them are like terms. Okay, so before the video is done, you have 4 problems that you're going to write down. These 4 problems we're going to go over in class on Zoom. I would like you to have them done before you come to Zoom. Okay, 4 problems. So where are we at? 9. Here's 9 and 10. Let's write down those 2, and then we'll write down the other ones. Here's number 9. -4 is out front. On the inside, you have -2y plus 1. Number 10, there's just a negative out front. And on the inside of the parentheses, you have 8x minus 3. Okay, give yourself some room. Here is number 11. Number 11, we're going to start with parentheses. You got 2y minus 7. And then there's a 4 right next to it. And then the last one, you got a negative 5e out front. And inside your parentheses, you have 2e plus 3f. Okay? Those are kind of like your homework, except for you need to do it before I come across. Okay? Practice now. We'll check your answers in Zoom. Thank you for watching this video. Bye, guys.